Hello guys and welcome back to today's episode of actually some rare MLS players. Again, joined by the man himself, Jonesy. So we're going to go in depth to show you guys a couple of rare MLS players, all within a certain price bracket. Now let's get into it. So right, our first player actually is going to be Zac MacMath, and it's our first player. I say it's ours, don't I, Jonesy, because we've actually gone off and chosen basically two players each in each position. This is one and the only players I think we have actually crossed over on. So that hopefully shows that we've done some good scouting on this guy. I want to get your thoughts on him because we had a budget for goalkeepers of under £200, haven't we? So for Zac MacMath being 124, for Real Salt Lake, what is your take on him? Because like I said, I think he did, he put some really good scores, you can see on screen now. He does hit the lows. I think that's all MLS goalkeepers, to be honest with you. Even the best of the best goalies like Blake, you saw the other day, conceded 3 goals. So yeah, it's a difficult one for goalkeepers, but you want the ones that are potentially going to get you some sort of consistency and be able to hit you those peaks. And he is one of those goalkeepers that when he does keep a clean sheet, he's accompanied it with lovely positive AA scores. So what is your take on it, mate, as well?
Yeah, I've had Zac MacMath since the beginning of last season as a limited. Yeah, he's really good. He's not a goalkeeper that will just get you a 60. If you keep the clean sheet, he's bound to get you the extra 10, 15 AA. So if you look at his scores, he's got like a few 80s in there, which is always handy, and then a few 70s, well, a lot of 70s actually. Most of his clean sheet scores go 70 plus. Yeah, I really like Zac MacMath. The only problem with Zac MacMath is the DMPs. That is not an injury or anything, that is him being dropped for the backup, which is Gavin Beavers. I'm not sure what his price is in rare, so if you're going to get Zac MacMath, it might be worth getting Beavers as well.
Yeah, Beavers, isn't he like only 18, 19 though, isn't he? And when I think he did start, he wasn't doing too well, if I remember correctly. Like, if we do look at the DMPs, what were they? So he lost 3-0 to Houston Dynamo at home as well. 3-0 to Monterrey away from home. Drew 2-2 with Sporting Kansas City. And won in a 3-1 win against St. Louis. So, it doesn't look like he's doing too well, and they're probably just dropping him in every now and again to gain some sort of game experience, aren't they, really? But yeah, if anyone out there knows more in depth about him, then drop it in the comments below. But yeah, I don't think he's too shabby, mate, for as you can see on screen here, behind my camera, 124 pounds for rare, which I think is extremely solid for a goalkeeper going into the start of a fresh new MLS season, isn't it? So
yeah, really cheap, really cheap for the price.
Yeah, really cheap, and the L15 of 48 is quite nice, but again, we don't really have to worry about that, do we, for cat modes anymore, RIP cat modes. 124 pound, mate. We're going to go straight into the next goalkeeper. So we're going to go to my first pick now, and that's going to be Martin Pays of Dallas FC. L5 of 43, L15 of 43 also. Goes to show near the back end of the season, it wasn't doing too well, but in a team like Dallas, I mean, they're not the best in the league. They are quite shaky in defence at times, which probably goes against the whole point of this video, but I think he's a solid goalkeeper nonetheless, and only at 25, I think he is good. For the price of £178 as of time of recording, for the floor price, I would definitely go over MacMath instead. Like, you're saving yourself like a good chunky 50 quid there, which we're going to show you some defenders and midfielders who are all under £50. And so you can obviously mix in with that. But in regards to his scores, 34 games last season. What was it? It doesn't really show on my screen here. Was it seven clean sheets? Which is okay, but he comes with, I think, some decent AA from when he does concede anyway. As you can see here again, over the year, he's hitting a positive AA of +10. So, I think a lot of people do rate this sort of goalkeeper. Hopefully, he maybe goes to a better team. No offense to Dallas FC, but what's your take on someone like this guy?
Yeah, they underachieved heavily last season. Dallas, they were tipped to be one of the better teams in the MLS. Looking at his scores, he's not great, but I mean, it's another rare goalkeeper under £200, so it's a nice choice. But again, MacMath, would be ahead of him for me. Like, even with the rotation, McMath would be ahead. Looks like he's missed the same amount of games as McMath as well.
Yeah, true. I'm not too sure why he's so much more expensive, but I think to get yourself a goalkeeper that's under £200 these days is like, especially in rare, of course. I think it's unless you're looking at Blake and things like this, and for Philadelphia Union, which you're paying. I don't even know how much he costs. Do you understand? Do you know how much Blake is these days in rare? It's probably 300 plus, probably.
I'll tell you now, Andre Blake is 475.
Oh, you see what I mean? And he conceded 3 last night. So that's what I mean. You just need a solid goalkeeper who, every now and again, especially for the price, like if you're on a budget and you're going into rares, especially for MLS, then I think this guy is someone who is a half decent shout. I wouldn't say he's absolutely amazing goalkeeper, but what can you do on a sort of on a budget, really, Jonesy? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, £170. Like I said, I prefer McMath, but let's just get into. How about we show them your goalkeeper, right?
Okay, so on to my next goalkeeper, or the last goalkeeper of the set. It's Matt Freese of New York. Shout out to Sorare. He loves Matt Freese. He loves New York as well. I think he's got have a few stacks of these next season.
Yeah.
But yeah, he took over the spot from Barraza, and he basically held it ever since. If you look at his L40, L50, and L5, they're all like L40 about 53, and then L50 and L5 are 58. Really strong goalkeeper. And they're very, very strong at home, New York, defensively. If you look at their scores, 1-0 win, 3-0 win, 2-0 win, 0-0 draw. So, I mean, the last 5 they haven't conceded a goal at home.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive for the MLS, where there's a lot of goals. So, yeah, that's my pick for goalkeeper. Again, he's at £180. I regret not buying him when he was down at 120. But, things happen, so never mind. He's not got a terrible start to the season either. He has got starts with 2 away games, which is also it's not great, but Charlotte aren't a great team, so you could possibly get a clean sheet or a lot of saves there.
Yeah.
There is a tough game, but Portland and then Toronto should be 2 fairly straightforward fixtures for them. But he's only got a small amount of games, like a pool of games to look at. But he does have 6 clean sheets in 12 starts. A 50% clean sheet record is unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, mate. And we've got mentioned as well, he is 25 as well, so, and a contract till December 31st, 2026, according to Sorare data. So again, someone you can have for the next couple of years, basically. And I'm sure, like you said earlier, Ellis is going to be absolutely loving that. But yeah, like you said, L15 really nice and high, L5 58 nice and high, L40 although it's 30% of the games played, 53 is still respectable, and a good score as well. So yeah, not quite the peaker as what the other goalies we've shown, but he's definitely looking a lot more consistent. And like you said, at home, like, to be honest, most clubs in the MLS are home savvy, really, aren't they? They do rely on their sort of home games to pick up their majority wins. So but yeah, for New York City, considering they were very up and down last season, did better near the back end of last season. Yeah, he's a solid pick, mate, I think. Right, so the first of the defenders, again, Ellis look away, but yeah, it's going to be Thiago Martins of New York City, again, obviously with his compatriot we spoke about before. So yeah, L5 at 55, L15 at 52, and an L40 at 49. I think all are very nice averages. £25 as of time of recording, which I think is a really good price for someone like Thiago. Like if you put him together with Freese, I think it'd be a lovely combination for what, £200 basically for the goalkeeper and defender combo. So yeah, I think that's really good. Like you said before, with Charlotte away, St. Louis away, it's going to be difficult, but the likes of Portland and Toronto at home, I mean, this should be easy enough wins, if not maybe board draws, but in which case that doesn't matter because Freese and Martins will be beneficiaries of that. Yeah, you can see even the scores here on the screen now. I think he had a little stint out when he was injured, I believe. But yeah, he's been back and he's hitting some nice averages. Again, not a peak scorer. Hopefully he hits something like that the start of this season, or the whole of this season, more like, which would be really nice if you do pick up someone like Thiago Martins. And Yeah, let's check his home and away. Again, you can see his home form, very much like his teammate Freeze, are very, very nice and lovely there, averaging 19.1 AA over the last year in home games alone. Whereas opposed to his away games, like you see, it's 11.8 AA, but the scores are, significantly worse. So yeah, definitely someone, like I said, with any of these players, you want to, put these guys in the best of their, use them to the best of their ability, really, using them at home. So yeah, 39 AA you see here, 34 AA, 18, 16, 20, 29. These were all at home, by the way. So yeah, I think he is actually a really, really solid shout. Not someone who's probably going to get you within podium, to be honest with you, because you probably need, 4 or 5 players that can reach you in the 70, 80s plus. Yeah, I think it's a solid shout, mate, Jonesy, for the 20 quid, 25 quid.
Yeah, not really much I can say. I think you've covered him really well. To be honest, again, it's just like Freeze. He will. If he keeps a clean sheet, you're looking at those 60, 70 scores, and then in some games where he doesn't keep a clean sheet, you're looking at high 50s. 59, 58. So, but yeah, he's not a peak scorer. But yeah, he's just a nice, as you used to say, steady Eddie. Steady Eddie back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Martins. I think he might do a little bit better next season. I think you might see a few more peaks. He just needs to add a couple of decisives to his game, which if he goes up for corners, could see that happening. Okay, so my next pick is Tim Parker, down at £25 in rare. He, unlike Martins, is a bit more of a peak scorer. As you can see, he's got a few 80s in there. Well, he's actually got 5 80 scores in there, which is really good for somebody at that price. And then obviously 10 scores totaling above 60. He, again, actually more of a decisive scorer. He does score goals. He had 5 goals last season from a centre-half spot. So I think most again from corners. He does have also 2 last man tackle or clearances off the line, which contributes to those 80 plus scores. When you scroll through his scores, most of his 80s have decisives on. Got a couple there which are all AA based. He's got 49.5 AA against Sporting Kansas City at home, which is really good. Again, in a 1-1 draw, so didn't even get a clean sheet bonus, still put 42 AA against LA Galaxy. So he's one of my favourites for this season, and I'm pretty sure he'll start. I did check on Play Sharp and he was starting for the St. Louis this season. So St. Louis are quite a new franchise, and obviously they've got Berkey in there as a strong goalkeeper behind him to try and ensure those clean sheets. Yeah,
no, I agree, mate. This is a solid shout, like you said, very decisive based it looks like, but he is capable of hitting the 20, 30, 40 plus scores in just AA alone. So yeah, I really like this shout. I like him the 2 last man tackles and clearances and the 5 goals. So yeah, not a bad shout.
His home AA is 18, so it's not too shabby. I mean, it's not awful by any stretch. It's actually quite solid.
Yeah,
his AA is like 3.7, so like all them players play him at home.
All 5 goals as well have been from home as well, and his 2 clearances off the line. So like I said before, and then you look at his away scores, which are significantly worse. So again, guys, do your own research for everything like that. But if I was we showcased it here in the last few players, use them at home. MLS teams are one of the most home-based leagues in the world. So yeah, definitely use them to your advantage. But I like this shout, mate, at home as well. Really, really solid shout. My pick for defenders, Justin Glads, L5 of 45, L15 of 46, L40 of 50. Again, not too shabby at all. For Real Salt Lake, of course, you can see on screen. And he's only at just under £23 in floor price as of time recording. So yeah, obviously I think he's a really solid defender. I know you rate him as well. St. Louis away next, and then they have Los Angeles at home, which apparently he gets quite good scores against, averaging 55 there. So Los Angeles might not be that good away. I think Real Salt Lake are quite, again, but I said this for all the teams, quite good at home in comparison to their away form. And then again, at home to Colorado, which apparently is averaging 63, which is really, really nice indeed. Again, very much like your defender, this guy is very much of a peaker. So someone who, as you see on screen, 86, 87, 86, 79. hitting quite a few little light greens there in the early 60s to late 60s. So again, I think he's a really good defender. Unfortunately, when he hits lows, so which is not the best of things. You can see here against Sporting Kansas City, apparently he got a red card within 3 minutes, so that's hence why the DMP there. And then he had, I believe it was an injury against Colorado Rapids, hence the DMP the next game. But other than that, he's pretty much an assured centre back for Real Salt Lake. I don't know if you had anything else to chime on this guy, mate, considering you are a big fan.
Yeah, I've had him for the same amount of time I had McMath, so that's this will be his second full season with me. Yeah, he's really strong. He's strong young centre half. Again, 7 decisives as well. 3 last man clearances and 3 last man tackles and clearances off the line. And then he's not shy in front of goal. He gets up there for corners, and he's got 4 goals from corners as well. So yeah, like with the new format, like we said when we were discussing on the podcast, you need peaks now. You need peak scorers for the new format to try and get those podiums or into the top 25%, get those loot boxes, and he'll be a player that can do that. So yeah, the peaks of 80, he got 4 of them, and he's obviously got 60 plus scores. He's got 9 of them altogether. So yeah, a really strong player. If you partner him up with McMath, I don't think you can go wrong in many home games this season. And his AA is quite balanced as well. His home AA is only 12.7, and his away AA is 15. So he's really balanced on AA. So again, you can play away games as well.
Yeah, and if you actually look from, obviously, in comparison to like Parker that you showed us before, like obviously I think his scores are better. They are better at home, but his away isn't that much worse. Do you know what I mean? Like it's still consistent. You're at least hitting sort of that 50s mark. With it, if he has a really good game, then he's hitting 60 plus. So yeah, he's. It looks like you can play him home and away, which looks really ideal, and that just goes to show probably his AA capability. But yeah, mate, really solid shout. And I think we jump into the midfielders next, is it?
No, one more defender.
One more defender. Oh, lucky you guys. So let's get into that next defender.
So the final defender, which is my pick, is Maya Yoshida. I've gone for an extremely cheap pick here because I wanted to get like one really sort of budget player in there. Yoshida, most people will remember him from his time at Southampton and Schalke. He's in the Schalke shirt there. He's £7 in rare, which is crazy when you go and look at his scores. He has had 100, so he can hit peak scores. He doesn't hit them consistently, but he has had a 100 score. He has had a lot of 60 plus scores as well. He's had 5 60 plus scores in 18 starts, and obviously the 100. And then he's also got a lot of 50 plus scores, which are actually quite high 50s. You see that 59, 58, 56, and a couple of 54s and a 50. So the reason he gets his big scores is, again, just hit a few decisives. So in 18 games, he's had 3 decisives from the back, a goal, a last man tackle or clearance, and also an assist. His 100 came with the last man tackle in a 0-0 against Houston Dynamo, where he put up 47.6 AA. So yeah, he's not someone that's probably going to play past the end of the season, but obviously because he's 35. But yeah, he's a solid shout. LA Galaxy should be a little bit better this year than what they were last year. They were pretty terrible last year. But yeah, he's, for the price, I think that's an absolute bargain.
Yeah, definitely. I think from what I'm seeing here is that it says his floor price right now is £21.40, but his last 3-day average has been £8.59, as you can see on screen there.
It was £7.42 last night when I made the list, so I've not refreshed the page. But yeah, if you can get him for under £10, that's the bargain there then.
Yeah, no, definitely. For under 10 quid, that's really good. At home to Inter Miami, that can go one or two ways. Depends how it'll depend on how Suarez and Messi, if they show up away from home, which they should do ideally. But then away to Earthquakes, Nashville, got some difficult games, must admit, at the start. St. Louis, even at home, is going to be difficult. Sporting Kansas City away, Seattle's at home. I think they've got quite a difficult little roll of games there, LA Galaxy. But like you said, if they can bring in a bit more form, and I don't know their recruitment strategy this year, don't know who they've actually they've bought. I know they lost Chicharito. Or Javier Hernandez, as you might know him, but obviously he's a striker, so I don't know who they bought in defensively, if they got anyone else. But yeah, I think he's a really solid shout. You can't really go wrong if you get him for under 10 quid. Like, that's really solid for someone who's able to and shows he's able to hit a peak of up to 100. I think he's really, really solid. And 12.3 AA. I see like the back end of that scoring is with Schalke. Yeah, that even then that was in the Bundesliga. So if he did do well, you can show. It just goes to show his sort of his sort of ability, doesn't it? If he can do it in the Bundesliga, he should be able to do it theoretically in the MLS. So yeah, I really like nice cheap pick there of Maya Yoshida. Right, and the next pick, my midfielder pick, is going to be the PE teacher looking mother father, the Robert Taylor for Inter Miami, 29 years old. Has a contract till December 31st, 2024, so the end of this year. L5 is 69, just to go to show, like, when he does start, he is in red hot form. L15 of 56 again, and L40 a respectable 53. Currently £44. When I actually originally did this list last night, this was before the Inter Miami versus Real Salt Lake game, midnight, or 1 o'clock, I think, UK time, 2 o'clock my time. He was about 20 quid, so now he's at £44, and this is the reason why. As you can see from his scores, last night he played as a striker alongside Suarez, and he's hit 80.7 with 20 plus AA positive scoring as well. Hitting that decisive, which is nice and lovely. And how many shots on goals did he had? Yeah, he had 1 shot on goal. So again, clinical striker. But as you can see here, he's played centre mid, he's played left mid, he's played all over the place. And midway through the season, he was very consistent, as you can see here, from game week, 383 to 401, before it looks like he had a DNP, which I'm assuming is down to an injury because he was started using as a sub from that point onwards. Yeah, he was really consistent starter. Like I said, started last night. So again, does that say he's going to be starting for the rest of the season? Who knows? But if he's scoring, why not? What do you think to this? Because I see he's got 10 goals, 9 assists, and a last man tackle, all within, it says 25 appearances. But obviously you've got to take in mind his bench appearances as well. So if we take that away, he's actually got 12 goal contributions within 25, with 1 extra last man tackle clearance off the line. So yeah, I think it looks really solid, I think.
Yeah, it's even for £44, that's a solid buy, I think, in my opinion. Again, it's hard to predict if he's going to start with the new additions at Inter Miami, if he's going to start consistently. If you look at the back end of last season, he only started like a handful of games, and a lot of the rest were staying on the bench, not even in the squad, some appearances. But again, 20 decisives. I mean, whoever picked him up for like £18 last night, well done to you. I like him as a good pick. Just keep an eye on Play Sharper and speak to the experts for Inter Miami and see if they think he's going to be consistently starting. But I mean, he started last night, played 76 minutes, so I don't see a reason why not. International utility as well on there, which is fantastic. I don't think they have Champions League at the Inter Miami. No, they lost in the final, didn't they? So no, they don't have Champions League or anything. But yeah, I like Robert Taylor, good pick.
Yeah, and I think you've got to realise as well, like I think you do, but because he's Finnish, he also has the UEFA Euros 2024 qualifiers as well. So that's against Wales, which I think is the final, isn't it, before the potential Euros. So if he wins that with Wales, then I think they get dropped into the remaining positions in the Euros coming up. I think, was it in July this year? I think it is. But yeah, also his, obviously go back to his MLS. He's got away to LA Galaxy, like I said before. You know, LA Galaxy may step up a bit at home, but they were quite shaky last season, home and away. At home to Orlando, I think Orlando came second last season. So again, they're really solid, but they're at home, and then at home to Montreal, which I know Montreal can be solid at home, but away they're not too. They can't replicate the form they do at home. That's why you can see the lovely, juicy 60 average score there as well. So yeah, I really like the look of this guy, even at limited. I know this is a more rare video, but at £6, I don't think it's too bad. And if you can get him for under 40 quid, I think he's a really, really solid shout.
So my next pick is Mateusz Klich. People remember this central midfielder from his time at Leeds in the Premier League. He has now moved to, well, not now moved, but he moved last season to DC, where he actually had a really good season. 10 decisives for a poor DC side. They didn't perform well at all last season. I hope that they'll be a little bit better next season, this season even, and next season, because he's a solid pick. Again, 90 scores, 3 of them. You know, for those peaks that you want to try and get those podiums. Really solid to get 90 scores. And then obviously with the XP boost, if you've got a solid XP boost on him, you might be getting hundreds for those 3 scores. And then consistently, he's had another 3 80 plus scores, 3 70 to 80s, and 5 60 to 70 scores. He's quite a crucial piece for DC. And I think he'll replicate again what he did last season this season. Might even be stronger with the strength inside of DC.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like you see there, he is decisive, capable as well. But I do think he has some nice, at least some nice averages over the last year in the MLS with 14.4, at home with a 14.9, and away being 13.9. So again, slightly favours the home fixture. But again, if we look at from what we saw in previous players that we've shown today, home, really good scores, but away, they're not as good, but they're still good. You know, they're not obviously podium worthy unless you hit that 90, of course, back in game week 354 or whatever it is. But yeah, I think I really like this guy. He obviously had the quality to play for Leeds back when they were, it was the Premier League, wasn't it? And then he left and he came to DC United. So yeah, he's obviously got an abundance of experience, being at 33? Yep, 33 years old as well. Unsure is a contract situation, but and to be 152nd for midfielders for this sort of price, like you said, if you get in front of £45-50, which is what he's been averaging anyway the last couple of weeks, I think is a really rogue solid shout, mate, to be honest with you. I really do. Okay, and I have Jonathan Osorio. I think I pronounced that right. L5 of 50, L15 of 52, L40 of 54. Again, not too shabby at all. Sitting at just under £27 at 26.40 floor price. I think is a really good shout. I think the only issue with this guy is that he probably plays for one of the worst teams in the league, which is Toronto. Which is unfortunate. Is that that of Toronto and Colorado Rapids are probably they are probably the worst in the league. But to put up these sort of scores, I think it's quite decent. I really do. And I wouldn't say he's that AA heavy. I think his better scores are more more decisive than opposed to his AA. But you can see here from the last year with 13.2 worth of AA, and what was he at home? At home at 14.6, and then away he is at 12. So hitting at 100 back in game week 365 against Philadelphia Union of all teams as well. So yeah, I think he's a solid shout. He's not absolutely phenomenal, but again, for someone of just under, just over £25, probably under £25, you have some sort of good negotiating skills. I think he's really good. To be honest with you, for the price. So it's just a shame it's Toronto.
Yeah, I don't mind Osorio. Again, plays for a terrible team, but if you look at his home average score, it's 62.9. Just for an average score at home, that's unbelievable, especially for such a poor side. Obviously, you wouldn't play him in any away games. His away average scores like in the 40s. But for a home game, like most MLS teams, he would be a decent shout. I don't know how good Toronto are going to be this season. If you look at their recent games, looks like they've won 1 in like 15. So not great form. We'll see how they perform this weekend when the MLS really kicks off. But yeah, I like it. It's a good shout. He's getting on a little bit. Well, only 31, so not massively getting on, but his price is very good, and he scores well at home, and that's kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I can also see he looks a starter as well for Canada. Played centre mid and right mid. I haven't got a clue what that nation is. Guadeloupe. Sorry, anyone who's from there. And also Cuba as well. So he looks like he's a starter for Canada. When that's going to show you utility, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure about the America national fixtures or anything like that. So, but hopefully Toronto do better this season. They have Insigne still, I believe, is there. Bernadeschi's been rumoured to go away, but he's still there currently, I believe. So, who knows? I just remember the time when they brought in people like Jermaine Defoe and things like that. That was always funny back in the day. But hopefully they shore up defensively and maybe even better attacking output, because they should be scoring quite decently, you would assume, attacking wise, with the likes of Bernadeschi and Insigne from obviously from Juve and Napoli. So yeah, not a clue why they're doing so bad, but that is going to be my midfielder pick of Jonathan Osorio.
So I've got 2 picks on the bounce here, my last 2 midfielders. The first one is Christian Roldan from my beloved Seattle Sounders, who I have nearly the full collection for now from last season. Again, all the DMPs are quite like injury based. He did have 2 quite long-term injuries last season. But if you look at his scores before that, if you click on all, you can see that he does hit the high peaks. So he's got 100 in there, 90s, quite a lot of them, and a lot of 80 scores in there. And again, at the end of the season just gone, he's still got 80s and 79, 72. So he doesn't always need a decisive to hit the good scores, to hit your 60s and high 50s, obviously. But the decisives do help, and that's what gets into the 80 scores, high 80s and the high 70s. He's a favourite player for me. I do love Roldan. Plays off the right. And I think this season now, Rui Diaz isn't going to be featuring as much. And obviously Lodiero's gone to Orlando. It'll probably be him and Russ that are providing for Morris most of the time. So yeah, I think he'll get a few more decisives this season, and fingers crossed he doesn't get another injury. I can't be doing with all these DMPs in my team. But yeah, I think he's a solid shout. Again, injuries, just beware of the injuries. He's only £40, and I think last time I looked at his rare before, when I was looking at MLS rares for the previous season, he was up at like the 80s and 100. So he has halved in price, and it will be due to those injuries. But fingers crossed he has an injury-free season and adds to all those decisives that he used to get. Now, the second pick for midfielders is Hassani Dotson. He's a central midfielder for Minnesota. I don't know a great deal about him. I just see that his scores are extremely good for someone that's not heavily decisive based. He does get really good AA scores as well. We've got a 72 AA there, 79 AA, and there's another one, 61, another 61, all in AA, no decisives. But again, when he adds to the decisives, just like Roldan, you're looking at mid to high 70s, and obviously an 80 in there as well. He's another solid pick, and again, it's another player that I'm sure was really expensive a couple of seasons ago. You're talking like hundreds of pounds again, and now he's down at 25. He's another player that, again, not long ago I'm sure he had a long-term injury. Yeah, if you click on the all, he did have from 264 to 314. He had like almost a whole season out. But last season he played the whole amount, and I think he had 1 DMP. Yeah, 1 DMP due to a red card. And yeah, again, solid scores. A lot of 60 pluses in there, a few 50s in there as well, and a few 40s. But Minnesota aren't usually the strongest of teams. But again, home fixtures only. Get him in there, and he should bang really.
Yeah, linking him up with the likes of Reynoso and Pukki. I think Pukki would do better this season as well. So yeah, I really like this one. So now I've got Christian Benteke's. And I really like the guy. I think he's just having fun out in the MLS. I think he's not like Messi or anything like that. He's not going to pull absolute trumps for you. I am aware of that. But 33 years of age, contract till the end of this year. So who knows where he'll go, or if he'll stay in the MLS with a different team, maybe. Fingers crossed to like a Cincinnati or something. I'd love to see that. Anyway, but he is under £60 at the moment. The attacking sort of money we wanted to go for was 100 and less. And if you didn't notice from before, from the midfielders, was it £80 and less, or was it 50? I think it was 50 or less. So that's sort of the budget we've sort of gone off, guys. So don't shout us in the comments saying, "Oh, you missed this guy and that guy." Yeah, we had a budget, okay. But anyway, L5 at 65. And obviously, being an ex-Aston Villa Liverpool player, he has the techers and he has the quality. And you can see here from the time of 409, scoring a lovely little hat-trick there, accompanied with a 38.6 worth of positive AA. How many attacks? He had 5 shots on target that game as well. So he's obviously 3 out of 5, which is really clinical. And yeah, I just think he's a great player overall. I think he is probably just a little bit above the average MLS player. I won't say he's an absolute world beater, but I think he is at a good club and a good stature of league for his sort of quality. I can't see him doing this in his home nation like Belgium or something like that. I can only really see him doing it in the MLS. So yeah, obviously every now and again DC United aren't the best. I'm not really the biggest fan of DC United. I would love to see him like I said, like a Cincinnati or like a Columbus Crew, where he's got better flair players in the midfield, like a Costa, or even a Minnesota where he's got Reynoso, and even Austin or something like that, where he's still got Druisi and things like that. So there's a lot of quality players that he could be going with. But unfortunately, yeah, it is DC United. It's not even Dallas, which he could have gone to maybe instead, which is in the same state. So he could have had, what was his name, Jesus Ferreira. So yeah, he could have gone elsewhere. But anyway, I went on a bit of a tangent. But yeah, £60 I think for a striker. He does finish at the end of this season. As of time recording, like I said, it is till December 31st, 2024, like I said earlier. But I really enjoy this guy. I think you will really enjoy this guy. So, Jonesy, I think you're not the biggest fan of him, are you? Which is why I sound like I'm trying to convince someone, either watching this video or with the video in the video recording with me at the moment. But yeah, what's your take on it?
I don't dislike him. I wouldn't buy him. If he came down a bit more, I probably would take the punt on him. But the thing I like the most about Benteke is his duels won. Because he's such a big target. Like if you look at the 100 he got, and then go into possession stats, he won 22 duels in one game.
Yeah.
And he gets a point for every duel won, which is insane. So that's where his AA comes from. He doesn't get a lot of it, but again, 11 on average at home is not bad at all. And he does have those games where he'll get 3 goals or he'll get 2 goals and an assist. But then he has these games, these like streaks of nothing, and it's just 40 scores all the way. Like between the Chicago Fire game and the Inter Miami game, he just didn't do anything. That's why I don't like him. So all of his goals are like clumped into just like 1 game or 2 games or 3 games. But yeah, he's still a solid pick. I mean, a rare strike of £60 that's got 16 decisives in the season. You can't really complain with that. It's just obviously all clumping.
Sorry, okay, carry on.
Yeah, I was just saying his decisives are mainly clumped together. There's not a lot of times where he hits just 1 goal or 1 assist in different games and gets the decisive regularly. It's,
no, I understand.
2 assists.
Yeah, I think to combat that, I think like when I see a striker, like it's obviously you've got a lot of them will have the striker drought is what always happens. So it looks like he had sort of his there, but apart from that, either side of that, I mean, he's scoring quite frequently and quite nice scores of 60 pluses, which is nice. And to argue his AA, I think AA scores aren't. I mean, they are important, of course, but I think for strikers, they're a lot more difficult to obtain, considering they're not on the ball as much. Like you said with Benteke, like we saw before with all his duels won. That's because of the headers and the little tackles and little bits and bobs he's getting into, where he just touches the ball every now and again, not necessarily bringing the ball down and turning his man or whatever. So. But yeah, like I said, I think he's a really good shout for an MLS striker. Again, for a fresh new start to the season, at £60. Yeah, I don't think it's too shabby at all.
So my first striker on the list is Jeremy Ebobisse. He is a striker for San Jose Earthquakes. And my reasoning for this one, he didn't do great last season. He only got 9 goals, 2 assists, and 2 penalties won, so it's only 13 decisives. But the season before that, he did contribute 17 goals. I don't know how many assists he got in that period, because I can only see his goals on his page here. But he had 17 goals in the league, and I think there's a good chance he regains that form this season. And if you look at the start of the season for him, at the top, Dallas away, 50-50, go either way. But then you've got Galaxy at home, Vancouver Whitecaps at home, Sporting Kansas City, which they could get a goal there quite easily. And then Sounders at home, it's like 50-50 again. And then, you just see all of these dark green scores across the board for the start of the season.
Yeah.
And again, he's only £50, so is he cheaper than Benteke? He was cheaper than Benteke.
Slightly cheaper than Benteke, yeah.
Cheaper than Benteke, higher up in the rankings than Benteke on the MLS rankings. No, I'm not just here to slander Benteke. Ebobisse again is similar. His goal. How his goals are spread out though are like 1 decisive here and there, 1 decisive. He does occasionally get 2, but they're not clumped together like Benteke's. That's why I like Ebobisse a lot more. So if he does go and get you a goal, like for example against Philly Union, they won 2-1, he got a goal, and he scored 79 points, so he still put up 19 points of AA. Yeah. And again, 9 duels won, so he's a bit of a bigger bully on the defenders. But yeah, he's my shout. I think he can get back up to 17 goals easy again this season.
Yeah, well, he's not quite hit 100 like Benteke, but it is what it is. No, but all jokes aside, I think from, like I said before briefly, if I were to talk about Benteke again, is that he's missing, I can't really think of anyone that is like a standout flair, creative attacking, like winger, midfielder that can help him create chances. Whereas Ebobisse, yeah, always screw it up. He has the likes of someone like Espinoza, who's a really good attacking midfielder as well. So yeah, I think it's really solid shout, mate. For and I'm surprised he's cheaper than Benteke, considering he's 27, coming into well, basically his peak, isn't it? It's known for most midfielders or attackers or outfielders in general. So yeah, contract on 2024.
He should get a lot of chances as well. Like you said, that midfield at San Jose is strong, and they can create for him. So yeah, I think he's really undervalued at £50.
Do you think he'll stay at the end of the season if his contract is running out till December 31st?
Because I predict him to get 17 or more goals or decisives again, yes, he will stay.
You think he'll stay? If he gets 17 goals, you think he's going to stay at San Jose, eh? All right.
Yeah, they'll give him a new contract if he does get those decisives back in. Like I said, he needs to be hitting probably 20 decisives, I think.
I can see him at Burnley or something next year if he does that.
I don't think he's quite back.
Yeah, right, but we'll see. We'll get into the last few players for you guys now. And now the last remaining players. So my last player is Johnny Russell of Sporting Kansas City, obviously. L5 of 58, L15 of 56, L40 of 54, which I think has been one of the highest sort of average we've looked at so far. Has a contract again till the end of this season. This is probably why they might be so cheap. But yeah, 33 years old. I think he's just signed a year extension, hasn't he, at Sporting as well? So that's really nice. But yeah, as you can see from his scores here, he can peak to get into the dark greens of the early to late 80s there. In regards to his scores, he's got 9 goals, 3 assists in the 27 appearances. Is that without? Yeah, that's just without the bench appearances as well. He didn't do anything off the bench. In regards to his home form as well, I think he was injured quite a lot last season, if I remember correctly as well. But in his home form, hitting 8 goals in the 13 appearances, which is really, really nice, as opposed to his away form, which he's only contributed in 4 goals in 14 games. So again, very home heavy, but I would say away he's not too bad in regards to his AA scoring, 11.8, considering Sporting Kansas aren't the strongest of teams, and at home being 13.2 worth of positive AA, as I said, at home. So yeah, short and sweet for this guy. Obviously a veteran now, has been in the MLS for yonks now, but yeah, what would you think?
Yeah, I like Johnny Russell. I haven't been limited. I bought him at the end of last season. I think he did score like a 77 for me in one of those games. Mm. So I'm a big fan. He's I would say he's more of a winger than a striker. Lido plays through the middle, Saloy plays off the left, and Russell usually plays off the right, which is a really strong front three. But yeah, they've got him down as playing most of his games as striker. But yeah, I think he's probably more of a right winger, maybe an inside forward. But yeah, I like Johnny Russell. That's a solid pick, and again, his price isn't too shabby at all.
Yeah, no, exactly. 77 quid. Like, he was averaging just under 50 the last 3 days, so hopefully he comes back down. But yeah, I can't really see him scoring against Houston away, so he could go down after that. So keep an eye on that, guys. But yeah, not too bad, I think. Right, and now your last pick, which is Mikel Uri.
I think his name's Yuri. If we keep pronouncing it wrong, though, it might look pretty bad.
Yeah, well, to be honest, we're never going to fucking... It's another player till December 31st, 2024, apparently, as well.
Do you know what, Joe, your Johnny Russell pick? There was question marks whether we were going to bring him back.
Oh, God, great.
He has come back, though. He has come back, definitely. They're going to give him a new 1-year deal.
That's probably why he went up a little bit, then.
At the end of the season, you can say that. He played retired. Right, okay, let's get into this one. So the final player on the list and my final striker is Mikel Uri. Everybody knows how good Philly Union are. They weren't amazing last season, but they will bounce back this season. I'm surprised he's so cheap. £80 for someone that's got, 19 decisives? Yeah, 19 decisives last season. Doesn't necessarily peak too highly, but will give you when he gives you a goal, it's obviously you get a 6+ score for the decisive and a little bit of AA to get you to 65. So with a nice bonus on him, you're looking at 70 per goal. And obviously the biggest benefit for Mikel Uri is Philly Union are playing in the CONCACAF Champions League. So extra utility for him, which is always nice. Who have they got recently? They got Saprissa. They should win that. They did win 3-2 away, so they'll probably play at home for maybe 60 minutes and might get a couple of goals there. But yeah, again, 19 decisives, not the peak scorer. He did have a 96 and an 80 and a 70, but mainly 60 scores. But he is Philadelphia's main striker, and they do rotate a little bit. So if you look at his time played in each match, 66, 67, 77, 75, 62, a couple of sub appearances. So they do have a lot of options at Philly. But I would say he's the main man, big target man. I really do like him.
Yeah, didn't you say he's like 6'5" or something as well, which is absolutely ridiculous.
6'5", I can have a look.
He's in the wrong sport, playing basketball, should.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's really tall. Mikael Jore, let's have a look. Yeah, there you go, Danish footballer. He's 6'2". So that's still pretty tall striker. He's a bit of a bully. But yeah, he's a big man, and I like when he scores goals. That's what you're really looking for from a striker mainly. First thing on the list is, does he score goals? And he does. Yeah,
like I said, like he doesn't really get you that AA. At home, what is 5, and then away is 2.1. So he's not really someone who's going to be, AA capable. But he is obviously decisive heavy and decisive capable as well. Like you said, did you say 18 or something for 36? So.
19 decisive in 36 games, so better than 1 in every 2 for his starts goal ratio.
Yeah, and if we get rid of his subs appearances, obviously they're far greater there. So yeah, hopefully it looks like he should be starting. And like you said, hopefully Philly will actually do something this year. I think they were very sort of like good, sort of mediocre at times. So in comparison to what everyone assumed they were going to be, which I thought they were going to be up there with Orlando and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's a good shout, mate, for Mikael Ure. Is that what we're calling him?
Yeah,
right. If we mispronounce things, guys, you know this channel by now. I'm not very good. I wouldn't be a commentator, that's for sure. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Anyway, guys, like I said, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow the main man here, the Rare Goat, Jonesy, and there's that at SorareJonesy, isn't it? I think I'll put it on screen so you can go follow, and a link in the description. I'm sure I'll remember. But like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Jonesy, mate, for coming on. Is there any last little comments or anything you want to leave?
No, thanks for having me on again, and good luck to everybody for the new MLS season and the new format as well that's coming out. So it'll be interesting to see how it gets on.
Yeah, I'm excited. So hopefully we do really well this season, and hopefully you've claimed your STRK airdrops as well. I'm still in the process of doing mine. Not like you give a shit. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.